Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning, Jeremy.
Derek.
Good morning.
Good morning, Antonin. How do I pronounce your name? Sorry.
It's in French. You can pronounce Antoine, but that's quite complicated.
Antoine, of course.
If it's Antoine or Anthony, it's also okay. Thank you, Jeremy.
Silly me, Antoine. Yeah, okay. Oh, well, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Sam, good morning.
Good morning, Jeremy.
We got some good different
How is
people.
going on today?
It's going good, going good. Glad you're all here. Let's see, Orlando is here or is coming in. Very awesome.
Good morning, Jeremy.
Hey, Orlando. Welcome. How's it going, everyone? It's good to see you all here. Antoine, thank you for coming. I think you're the person I talked to in the community. Is that correct?
Exact. And thanks a lot for the help and for everything. I mean, super helpful and super nice from you. Yeah.
Glad to.
And I mean, this morning I just use your code and that's working fine. I mean, I just make few change like around the formulas and things like that, but that's super nice. Yes.
Yeah. Great. I had posted it in the community. I was I don't know if you saw that post.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Well, I wanted to just talk through it today because I, had really just done the basic code, but how's everybody else doing? I haven't let's see here. Sam, you've been still just working on the same things? You trying other new things? What are you up to?
Yeah, I've created my first web app using the Next.js and FileMaker OData API. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I could connect them successfully and do some simple authentication and yeah, and just do some updating and create new record. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. What are you just doing it again for fun? You kind of do things just for fun, right?
Yeah. Just want to try new things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I don't actually know much about authentication. What are you doing? What are you using and such?
Yeah, I just use the data from Proof Guys. The links off. Yeah.
Okay.
Although it is in beta version, but yeah, I think it should be okay just for fun. Yeah.
Great.
If it is if you are going to production, maybe you have to wait until they release an official version. Yeah.
Good. You're always trying something new. You keep me on my toes as far as trying stuff new. I always think, oh, Sam's gonna do something brand new today. Crazy. How about you, Orlando? What have you been up to?
Mostly just FileMaker stuff this week.
I'm so disappointed in you. I'm so disappointed.
Well, this project should have some list pickers and some JSON integration for some complex querying. So the first part is purely FileMaker. So I'm trying to get that out of the way so I can do the fun stuff.
Okay, great. Very good. Derek, welcome. What have you been up to?
Thank you. Yeah, still playing around with DataTables. Just this week, I was messing around with the render functions within DataTables, just trying to conditionally format my data. So when I saw your posting, this was right up the alley of what I've been working on recently. That's all going pretty smooth. I think, you know, probably the biggest challenge is I'm trying to make it easy to support directly from FileMaker, you know, of course, passing all the options and something like the functions over from FileMaker. And I think that's just the next thing I have to solve, because of course, with the render, passing that over as a function from FileMaker, you know, just understanding how it needs to come over, because of course it's being rendered as a text. And, you know, that's just my next problem to solve.
Well, I'll tell you, it's impossible to do that. You can't bring a function from FileMaker to JavaScript.
Yeah,
in the
that's
renderer.
that's a problem, because you know, for all these projects and having, you know, maybe 10 web viewers, 10 data tables in one project, having to manage each view's conditional formatting without touching the JavaScript code, you know, it's, you know, just more work, especially if you're the only person on the team
Mhm.
with the data tables knowledge.
Yeah, well, that's it's interesting you say that. Are you using this JavaScript development environment thing?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll speak to that briefly, and then I can possibly show that during this time. But I would actually contend that it's actually easier just to deal with it in the JavaScript. I know that you want other people on the team to be able to configure things, but you could actually build something. You could, and I can show this too, but you could build a whole separate like JS file that holds the configuration for each data table set, each use of it. And you're calling that, you're conditionally calling it, and you're using logic to call it in the JavaScript based on what's passed in. And I'll show that exact example or something like it. I've gone back and forth about putting configuration stuff like, you know, number of rows per page or something in FileMaker, and I just, using this development environment, I just don't see any reason to do that anymore, because you're either going to do it in FileMaker or you're going to do it in JavaScript, right? And you might as well just keep it in JavaScript. But again, to your point, if you're the only one that knows it, that could be a problem. So, but it's good to think through that, because this is real world. Derek,
just knowing that it's impossible to pass from FileMaker, that you know, clears up a lot of my time.
Yeah, let's get your whole team using the development environment, and then we can and then you all can fly with writing the JavaScript and deploying it and so forth. So yeah,
sure,
let's get your whole team doing it. Well, Don, how about you? What are you up to?
Same stuff. Back home though.
Okay, that's good. Back home. Great.
So 8-hour drive on Monday.
That's a horrible drive from Kansas to Colorado, as I recall.
There's nothing there. It's just
There's
flat
nothing
nothing. So
right. Cool. It's not cool, but
Jeremy, based on your experience, I mean, is there a size of the record or number of record where data table will be like too slow and we need to use like FileMaker native other possibility, or not really?
not that I've found yet. I mean, you know, the example that I'll show, while it's local to my machine, it's holding 9,000 records, and it's all getting in there at once. My belief is that if you're trying to show 9,000 records in a list view compared to data tables, and both of them take time, the JavaScript way is going to take a lot less time, because you're going to have, you know, if you have calc fields, or, you know, I think FileMaker only will render 100 records at a time, and after, as you scroll down, it's going to have to go fetch more information, more data. So I haven't found a limit yet. Actually, that's not true. Let me, I'll show something here. The only limit that I'm finding is when, okay, so let me set the stage, and this will get into what you were doing. The only problem that I have found, let's get this going here. Come on, there we go. Okay. So I've got, this is something that we did for the training, and this is what from my JavaScript and FileMaker training course. And this is what I do with my training students. And sorry, that's it. And then this is the one that I did the work on to provide the code for you in the community. But what it is a table here that's loading 200 records here. And then this one holds 9,000 records. And it takes about a second or so to load it all. But now 9,700 records are loaded. And if the high school, if the school here, school name here were a calculated field in a list view in FileMaker, it's no longer a calculation here. It's just a plain old piece of text. So that's going to be a lot faster. So in my opinion, the trade-off is it might take a half a second longer to load 9,000 records, but you're not going to get any delay when you're going through this to page to the next set of records. All right. So that's my thought. I did run into a problem where I would get an error. So I'm using the execute data API script step to get the data. Here's my script step here, or here's my script that goes and gets the data. And it uses here on line 26. I know it's a little bit hard to see. It's so small. Here, I'll do this. There we go. Line 26 here is using the execute data API script step to go get data from the query that was built right above it. This script step, it seems to have a problem when the source layout has this has maybe a dozen fields, but if it were to have like 3 or 4 or 5 dozen fields, that's going to be a problem only for the execute data API script step. For some reason, it can't handle, I haven't found the limit yet, but it can't handle hundreds and hundreds of fields on a layout. My particular use case was that I was using like 20 of the fields to do a calculation inside of the JavaScript to get one sum or sums for multiple columns or something. And that was just too much for me to pass in the raw data and then have JavaScript handle it in that with, hundreds of records coming in as well. So there's a limit. It seems to be a limit to how many, using the execute data API script steps, there seems to be a limit to how many characters can actually be brought in. I don't know what it is yet, but there's something there. So I'll have to explore that. I ran into that with a client. So we had to back out and we had to create a summary table in the file, do the calculations there, and then pass just those calculated values into the JavaScript. So that's the only limit that I've seen. I don't know. Orlando, have you used DataTables and found a limit? Or Derek, have you ever found a limit with number of records? What do you know what your maximum number of records is that you've passed in?
Just for testing, like in the 100K area, no problems there. But
Okay.
that wasn't definitely not a real world scenario.
Okay. And it was a hosted file and it was.
Yeah, it was hosted. Of course, infinitely quicker than a portal, but I think from my experience with 100K, it was like in a hosted solution, it took about 3 seconds to render and display the data. Not bad at all.
Yeah. Okay.
What I've tested with the 70,000 records as a test. It works unless someone search for everything, like you put the wildcard and in just one field, and then I see that the data API takes a while. So if I really enter, like, I don't know, 1 or 2 field things to search, it works great. If I search by anywhere, anything, for me at least, hosted file, it looks like sometimes it's really long. So I was thinking of making a condition of if it's a wildcard, then maybe use the normal search FileMaker function and not using the GI and the JSON, sorry, and data API. I don't know.
Mm.
I'm not sure. I'm true.
there is it seems to be an instance where, I'm gonna stop for a sec because I want to share. I won't be able to see you guys anymore, but I'm gonna share, just make it easier to see my screen. Because I do try to record this, and there we go. So I can't see you. So if you say anything, just if you want to pipe up, just interrupt me. I think it's pretty common, just like execute SQL, that the first time you run that thing, it's going to be a little bit slow, but the rest of them are going to be fast. You can always, of course, you send this script to perform script on server. You can run this as perform script on server inside of the parent. That's a little bit faster. And depending on your data needs, your data, what's actually in the actual data could be cached in the return value in the JSON in the array. And then it's no problem to just pull from that cached, it's sitting in a field in a table somewhere. So those are some options that I might consider if that is the case. I am doing the perform script on server in my client's case because we're passing hundreds of records and like probably 30 fields at the moment. So that's what I'm doing, is perform script on server. But yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Well, so the point of this, I think this goes to what Derek was talking about, is, we're passing in two different data sets and we're telling the JavaScript which columns to use, because the only thing that's coming in from FileMaker is the data. The columns come from right here, where we've got the columns created into a variable, and then we're just passing in one parameter from FileMaker that tells the JavaScript which set of columns to use. And I guess I would work to build that up, because maybe if, I could say const page length equals if data type equals customers, I don't know, okay, 10 or 25, and then use that in the options itself. It's telling me that it doesn't want me to do that. Page length is page length. It's fine. It'll be okay. So if I go over here and I load customers, I'm going to get 10. But if I load admissions data, I'm going to get 25. So that's kind of a way to do some configuration per data set. And I think I personally now, I think it's easier to build this stuff inside of FileMaker or inside of JavaScript than it is to build it in FileMaker. That's not to say that I haven't done this before. I certainly have put all of the configuration options of something into FileMaker. Orlando, have you done that? Are you putting config stuff in FileMaker, or are you putting it in the JavaScript itself now?
I'm putting most of it in the JavaScript at the moment, simply because if I need different configurations, I'm putting it in the JavaScript and then passing in a value to call the separate configurations.
Okay.
So having them as different functions, and then calling them to change the configuration. But it's generally not dynamic from FileMaker.
Yeah. Yeah. So Derek, there's it's of course whatever you want to spend your time on, wherever you want to spend your time in too, right? But there is a problem that you can't pass in functions. So yeah, that's
honestly, I do this type of configuration in FileMaker. So I have like a condition, but just because I don't know how to do that in the GS code. I mean, I think if you can, what you just show, configuration and condition in the GS code, it's better to have like just one GS file and one GS code instead of 2 or 3. That makes sense. Yeah.
In this case, and again, this is something that I do with my training students, is I've got a file called columns over here that contains the columns that we're using for the two different data sets. And the reason I chose to do this is because it's not going to change for this list view for these two. It will rarely ever change that they'll want to have different columns. They don't get that option with portals. They don't get it with list views. So people aren't really expecting different columns. So my columns are hard coded in here. The path to the result is stored here in there. And then, because I'm using JavaScript, I'm able to export these variables from this file and import them into this file here up above. And then I'm able to use them in my condition statement down here. And again, this is stuff that we go over in my training course. This is what I'm trying to inspire people to do, is to think about what could be stored in the JavaScript and then what is stored in FileMaker and brought in. So the only things that are brought in right now are the data and the type of data that is coming in. So yeah, I mean, there's certainly you can do this. You can, and I'm sure, Derek, you're doing this where you've got are you passing in one JSON object and then parsing it out, or do you have multiple parameters that are coming into this function here?
It's one object, and then we're parsing it out. But yeah, I'm passing pretty much every option, data and columns and column defs.
That's great. That's great. By the way, I wouldn't use column defs anymore because it's a little bit tougher. I actually haven't used it for a while. I'm just using the columns property. Columns def, I think, is a little bit different. You have to like give it a array number or something. So it's one thing, but yeah, it's, if you're comfortable with that, keep on going. I look at data tables all the time, and I'm looking to make it a little bit simpler. And it feels like the columns property is a little bit simpler to work with than the column defs. But anyway.
So in the columns property, if you wanted to adjust, for instance, the percentage of the size in which the column should be, you could just pass that as an option here. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, in my case, I do like in FileMaker being able to just add or remove a column on the fly without having to update the JavaScript code. So I think I would perhaps just segment the column defs out to its own file. So that's where I could potentially add the functions and, those nitpicky things that would require opening up VS Code.
Yep. So, yeah. Okay. So yeah. So that's it's certainly worth wrestling with and coming up with. I have many years ago now on the proof guide, or when I was working at, it was working when I was at Geist Interactive, and I'm trying to remember the name. I'm always forgetting it when I do this, but I had a whole FileMaker file that had a configuration builder for data tables, and it was all being, in this case, it was being substituted. So you would select like which columns you wanted, which columns were visible, which were invisible, and so forth. And then all of that got constructed and then substituted into the code. So it certainly works. I'm just finding it's much easier to do this. So in my case, if someone says, oh, we don't need the sales anymore, I could simply copy that or turn that off, reload it, redeploy it as I need to, npm run build : upload, and it runs it and redeploys it to FileMaker. And now people, when they load this, they won't see the sales data. Oh, I need the sales data on. Okay, I could do that. Do this deploy again. It changes that. And now the sales data is back in. So to me, it's faster to do this. But I get, if you want to let your users select the columns, that's perfectly.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I prefer working in VS Code. Yeah, it is much quicker, but of course, the dream was to create something like Salesforce-esque, where even based on a particular user, their preference, they could build a custom report and just choose which columns, and that'd be great.
Yeah, cool. So this Anton, this is the JavaScript development environment. In case you haven't noticed, but this is what I use exclusively to do my JavaScript now.
I've seen. I mean, I've attended few of your webinars already.
Okay.
But I've seen it. I've seen you. I've watched you explain it, but I've never tried, and it looks cool. And definitely, I would like to jump in. I will.
Well, come. Yeah, if you sign up for, did you signed up for, or
Yeah.
if you sign up for one of the free training courses, you'll get going. Don did it, and if Don can do it, anybody can, right, Don?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's great. So
yeah.
No, but
I mean, it's not too difficult. There was a couple snags in there that we worked through, but to get it set up on my stuff, but it works fine.
yeah.
So.
no, I will. I've signed, and I will go for your training. But I'm sure I will attend your classes, Jeremy. I mean, I want to, and I have to. Let's say something like that. Yeah,
That's great. I do have a course on just data tables that I keep forgetting to promote it, but we're gonna supposedly next Friday. It's a 6-hour course. We're going to build the perfect data table, and we're going to tap into every single feature that you're interested in. So Derek, if you want some solutions to the render or conditional formatting or whatever, that's what this is about. This course is about really just whatever you're interested in, let's find a solution to. So I can show that.
Sounds great.
But let's take a look at the one that,
Sorry.
well, go ahead, Derek, what did you say?
Sorry.
I know, I was
Jeremy.
just saying, that sounds great. That's right up my alley.
Great.
Sorry, can I just
Yes,
back.
Derek. Yes, everyone.
just to your question about hiding and showing columns. I don't know if it's the right solution, but there is a column visible event that you could pass in. I just saw that on the website, so I don't know if you could set up the data tables to have all of your available columns and then use the column visible event to show and hide what you need.
Yep.
Dynamically. I've not tried it. I just saw it on the site.
No, this is great. I've used this many times. You can, and that's just this is part of what I want to do during training is you could actually write a JavaScript function that gets called from FileMaker, and you could simply turn a column on or off. You could change its visibility by a FileMaker button. So, and again, I've done this. I have a client file who has a whole set of columns that he wants to be able to turn on and off. So this here allows me, I think you can pass in an array of these. And if he presses the FileMaker button, it'll run a FileMaker script that causes a JavaScript function to run that turns on or turns off a couple of these columns. So yeah, that's part of
potentially you could pass in your JavaScript file can have all of your available tables all set up, ready to just call, and then this could be used to switch on and off. As needed.
And what's cool is you wouldn't have to reload the data every time if you follow, if you do this, if you have all the possible columns, and then you could just have some that are on by default and then turn on and off some as you need. So yeah, good idea. Yeah. So that, yeah. Cool. Well, I want to take a look at what Antoine asked about in the community. I'm glad he brought it up, and I'm glad I was able to find the solution. I feel pretty confident now that if someone asks about something in data tables, I can find the answer even if I have to hack away at it a little bit, which is what I did.
So you never made summary before?
I never made a summary before. I did. I've done grouping by rows, like sub-summary report stuff, sub-summaries in here, grouping by maybe city or sales number or something, but I never did the putting a footer at the bottom and summarizing that. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. But like I said, I can't believe how big data tables is, how many features and functions it has and how many things I could do with it, and still what I have to learn. So, Antoine, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're using data tables, you're doing the substitution method at the moment where you've got all the code in different fields and you're doing a substitution, correct?
That's correct. I mean, in fact, I replace all my find and my list view in FileMaker just with one web viewer. I mean, just one layout, and based on the table and on the request, then I use different column, parsing the column name and the data substitution. But it's just one layout, one script, and all my find from FileMaker are using this script and this layout for the list view. Exact.
Could you show us a little bit of that? Or is it a client file that you can't?
No, I can do that. I mean, I'm not sure it's super interested, but of course I can share that. Yeah.
And by the way, this is being recorded and I'll put it up on my YouTube channel. So if that's a problem, but
no, that's not a problem for me, not at all. Let me just open the file. I can share that with you. Okay.
I've been advocating for that for many years now with people, trying to convince people to replace every list view and portal with.
So you think it's a good solution?
Yeah, and I think Derek, you're doing that too, right? You're working on that, right?
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. I'd be happy if I never touched a portal again.
I love it.
So I can share my screen. Yes. Tell me if you have my screen.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you will see that coming on the home page, it's already refreshing this agenda, which is on test for the moment. So that's not my choice to put the agenda, which always refresh on the home page. Just to let you know, but never mind. If I can search, let's say, searching about no, that's because there is no much data. Searching about product. Okay, it's in French. I just put A for product A. That's my only layout. Then I have my product with an A, and of course it's data table. So as you said before, I have more field to show and less field to show. I can hide and hide fields.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's the reset column. I mean, if I move the column or whatever, then I reset the column. And so I am on the product table or search, and if I click on view, that's the same button, then I open my product, okay? And if I want to search about this time, okay, I have to wait for that. This time about medical record, let's say something like that, then I can search for things, and that's the table with 70,000 record for the moment. So I try not to be too wide in search, but still in 70,000 record, it will not be that long. Should not be.
And in your
Okay.
case, yeah, nice. Cool.
Yeah, and then I have like this 500 record form, and I'm in another table, same script, same layout again, same perform script, same script on FileMaker, but this time I will show another layout and another table, and then I've done that with a client, animals, whatever. I mean, that's it. The only thing is. That's the dev file, huh? That's not the production file. So because I'm not a super expert like you in GS, then I have this different JavaScript or HTML file. Okay, and just mainly this file are different for the column definition. That's the main thing. I mean, now I know that I can parse the column definition, everything in JavaScript, meaning that I can use just one JavaScript code. That I will not need anymore this condition in FileMaker. But that's basically the script which display all my find, and I have this find data and making the JSON data for the code. That's the script. That's it. And the view script, when I go back and open that's this view script. I mean, just a condition based on the on the find parameter, I know which table I should search in, and always the first column in my GS code, always the first column. If I can go, yes, always the first one is the UUID. So I know that I just, and it's always a non-visible column. So each time I click on the view, and I know I have to pass as a parameter the column number 0, which give me the UUID I should search on. That's how I made the thing. I'm not sure that's the best solution. I mean, but that's how I did it. And the good thing is that I just have one layout, which is this basic HTML file with just this global variable, and then I replace this with the code. And because I don't use your solution, I mean your working environment, I use this insert text because I don't have to escape all the codes and things like that. So just text, and I paste the text, you know. It's time saving for me, but I'm sure that there is also, I mean, your solution is even better to save me times. Yeah.
Well, I'll speak to that. I like the insert text. I use that a lot. The only reason mine is simpler is because it's automated to push the code into a field from this development environment. When I did that deploy, it pushed all this stuff. That's the only reason it's a little bit faster. But you could easily copy your code from that inline file and stuff it into that index.html, and it's great. So very good. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. You're really pushing. Has it taken a heck of a long time to figure this out and get it going, or is it flying pretty quickly for you now?
Honestly, I was like starting from nothing. It took me like 2 days.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, 2 days to start it from the beginning. I mean, knowing like quite nothing in DataTable and implementing in my solution and making the script and making all the trial, but hidden, visible, non-visible, sorting the column, whatever. 2 days and it's done.
Great.
Yeah, that's quick. I have to say that's quick. Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's worth the time, right? Because you've got,
yeah.
you're not building separate list views with all that functionality. You've got one list view to handle all the different data. So
yeah, and then I mean the possibility to search into the search, and that's so quick. I mean that's really like live search and live filter. I mean filtering, live filtering. That's a very nice possibility. Yeah.
Anybody have
Can I
any?
ask one?
Yeah, go ahead,
Steve?
Orlando. Yeah.
Sorry. When you click view, is it opening up a card window, or is it going to a different layout to show the details?
That goes on a normal I mean edit layout. The user will use to edit or enter I don't know, information on a record and modify and creating a new record. So the view.
Does it take you away from the layout of the list view of the portal?
Yeah.
And
I
then,
mean I can show you again.
Are you able to then navigate back and go to the same position?
Exact. Yes, that's maybe something I didn't show you. So I am in the data table layout. Okay, I click on one view, and then I go on the normal layout where the user can enter information or whatever, and I click on back. Then I am back on the list view.
When you go back, if your users performed a search within the web viewer and then they go back, do they come back?
No. Back is just back to the web viewer. So that's just.
I mean, if they did a filter of that list of the data table in the web viewer.
I never tried that. Let's try that. I don't know.
Does it bring you back to where they were, or does it bring you back to?
I don't. Never tried it. I mean, I'm sure Jeremy knows the answer. I don't know. I think this will be removed, but I don't know. Let's see. If I go there.
I mean, so if you filtered it down to
the filtering is gone. So maybe there is a way of keeping that, because I've seen that in data table documentation, there is a way of going to the last previous, let's say, filtering or configuration, I saw that there are options to do that, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I think there's, I did ask the question on the forum. Someone said there's a state save, but I haven't tried it. So I just wanted to see if anyone else has tried that. Because obviously in FileMaker, you go to a layout, you come back, you're in the same found set, but I just wasn't sure if replacing a list view with a web viewer, you had that same experience.
Derek, have you found any way, any thoughts about that?
No, I was going to suggest that being part of your course, you know, with reloading the web viewer, you know, without having the screen flash, you know, just that's aside the point. But I think, of course, when you're navigating away from the layout, when you go back to the layout, you know, the web viewer has to reload. So I think in Antoine's case, you would have to keep that window open, right? If you wanted to retain what was in the web viewer.
That's completely true. That's something I do in other things, that I have another window, and then if I don't want to have the flash and to be on the exact same stage, then I use different windows. That's completely true. But yeah, I've seen in DataTable that there is a JavaScript function which brings the user in the last settings, or let's say everything like before. I guess that it still needs to reload, but I don't know. I never use that.
Yeah, I've been using, you know, singular layouts with a lot of slide panels to, you know, overcome this issue.
A card window won't have this problem because you're just opening up a new window for edit and then closing that window. The web viewer behind will save its state. So you could just make a very big web viewer, big card window that allows the users to edit the data too. That should be okay. So, but yeah, I'll have to explore that, because this is the fun stuff, is the challenge to do something that I've never done before. So I'll explore the save state thing. But hey Marty, welcome. You're here. Nice to see you. You got that garage built yet?
No, I finally got approval for it.
Okay.
Now I just got to wait for the actual permit and start the process. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
I really wish I had a separate building. I might have said that. I really wish I had a separate building in my lot so that I could go and work and spread all my toys out without bothering the household, you know. So all right. So Antoine brought a interesting question to the forums. I love it. I'm mad that he didn't bring it to our community, but luckily I got him in our community, so he can ask his DataTables questions there. I'm trying to steal all the JavaScript questions from the Claris community and put them in the JS and FM community. So anyway, so he asked about being able to add a subsummary, or a total summary at the bottom of the list. And I don't know, Antoine, what you were intending to do, but did you want to summarize an entire column, just the entire column, no matter how many pages were shown? So just
that was my basic needs, but I saw that you have done more than that. I really saw that you have summarized the display record, but also the total record, and that's really super cool. I saw that.
Yeah. So I want to walk through that because it did take some hacking to figure out. So what Antoine was looking at was this draw callback function of DataTables that performs every time the DataTables performs a draw. So I think the word draw means every time data is put into the table or the table is created, both of those actions, or it's filtered, or it's page changed or anything, those are considered draws because it has to redraw what's in the web viewer. So you were looking at this to think what you could do with this. And I had just done a quick search and was looking for a footer. You couldn't, you didn't know kind of what to do with it and where to go with it. But what I found was that there is a footer callback So I thought it might be that. In this case, you're modifying the table footer on every draw event. And so I thought it would be that. And they actually gave me some, wait, this isn't even the right, this isn't the same. It's close. They gave you some details here about how to take a particular column, in this case, the sixth column or the fifth index, zero index column, summarize it by using a reduce in JavaScript to just summarize, just add them all together. So this function here is going to add every single value together in the column and then spit it out into the footer. What I realized was that, and they show examples here. Actually, not this one, doesn't have an example. But all of these examples that they provide assume that your table already has a footer in it. And that's just not true in our case.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we are generating we're generating the table from scratch using the data table function here, wherever it is, right here. Nope. Where is mine? Right here.
Load. Yeah.
So this is actually, we're just giving it columns data, and so it's now going to generate the table together. So when we look at when we look at it in FileMaker, we see that we have what DataTables has created with the data that comes in from FileMaker is it's created a head and it's created a body, but it doesn't actually create a footer. That's not part of what is working. So the code that, or the way that I had suggested to Antoine didn't work because this needs a footer that's already there. It's not provided with the way that we're doing it. So I had to look back at the draw callback, and I thought that this would be, now that I'm thinking about it, either one could work. I think it's just a different order of operations. What we have to do is we actually have to programmatically with JavaScript generate the footer and then update it every single time that the table is drawn. So that's what I gave to Antoine as a code base. I'm actually interested to see if this is the best method or not, but I'm just going to walk through it, and I'll just go through it here and talk through it. Got a little bit of time left. The first thing I'll do is add that. So here's the draw callback function. And we could just do what I always do to start. We could do console.log, draw callback. So back in FileMaker, where are you, FileMaker? Back in FileMaker, every time if we'll go into dev mode, we need to go over here and npm start. I'll get both of them up here. Every time we load this, we're going to get that draw. We should get the draw callback console log. And that means, I'll just make it small here. Every time we change the table count, the page count, we're going to get the draw callback. So this felt like this was a way to do it, especially because I wanted to kind of push it and update the total. I want to put in the footer not only the grand total of all this, but also the total of the items on the page. So that was interesting to be able to add these 10 values up and put that there. So I think the first thing that I had to do was actually generate a footer. So I'm just going to do that first. I'm going to do trying to see what my code's going to work. I think, yeah, I'll just do it that way. So I'm going to start. This is what I do in my trainings, but I'm going to create a footer. So the footer equals document dot. Actually, I need to first grab the table, which is in the D table, has a D table ID. And I'm going to, there's a function called create tfoot. I had no idea. And an insert row. So this should create a footer at the bottom of this row, at the bottom of the table, when the callback happens. So let's see if that worked. Didn't work, I think, because we just don't, oh, maybe I need to put it in a 0 there. Let's try that. Maybe what I need to do is I need to add some HTML. So I'll do that. I'll say the footer dot inner HTML equals, and I'm really just going to do a couple cells here. Antoine, I noticed that your total maybe didn't match the columns at times. This is how I would strive to get it in the column underneath the actual data it's summarizing, if you're interested. I don't think I mentioned that in my message here, but this is one cell. And so if I'm eventually going to summarize the 10th column, I need to have 9 of these here. So anyway, it's a small thing. All right, I'm going to put some.
In fact, I just realized that I had to add just a tfoot, just an open tfoot and close tfoot, just one in my code on my HTML portion, and just making that made everything working. Yeah,
that's right, because you have the HTML.
Yeah.
Wait, where did you put it?
I can show you. I mean,
show me.
Yeah,
I was actually wondering about this, that maybe I could have done it a different way. I like creating stuff via the JavaScript, but have no problem with.
Let's do like that. You see?
Oh yeah,
ID.
that's, yeah.
I just put the tfoot there because not making that, I didn't have the code. I mean, all the function you have coded displayed, but I'm sure there is a way without doing that to create on the fly on JavaScript the footer and giving an ID and then calling it. But I quickly tried this morning, but I was not successful. So I just tried that, just adding this tfoot. And I've tried before by doing this tfoot and using the footer function of JavaScript, but it was not a success for me. Yeah.
That's perfect. That works just great. You're right. That's it's a good way to do it. I had that same thought last night, but didn't think to apply it. So I'm creating it via JavaScript here. And that's actually, in my opinion, that's actually better, because every time this draws, this thing is going to get created again. And so that's probably not the best way to do it. So I'll go into my HTML and do the same thing. So I've got the tfoot. The problem is, I guess, and this is where I need to do a refinement, is if I create this, so we've got the footer there, I can remove this. How does this play? Does it actually create a footer that you can see? So it doesn't create a footer that you can see yet, unless I go into the HTML and do TD1 and so forth. So I would have to like physically create it. And then of course I'm stuck with how many columns are there. And it's actually, look at that, it's created the footer. Oh, that's interesting. What's it getting an error? Yeah. So maybe this doesn't work for the way that I exactly want to do this, but it is worth exploring, and it seems to work for you. All right. So I'm creating the footer. I guess I'm just going to create it every time. It doesn't seem to have a problem with it. And I just went ahead and put in some things there. And then somewhere in the documentation, I found some stuff. So this draw callback function actually is going to give me the row that I'm not sure why it's giving me the row. It's giving me each row. It's giving me the data for each row, the start and the end. And actually that's interesting because then I can, I could do this. I could, I'm gonna just do start and display maybe, because I want to see what those are. So when I run that, oh, I'm getting undefined. That's interesting. I wonder. Interesting. No, I don't know why I'm not sure what those are. Anyway, I don't need those, I don't think. What I do need though is here's the code that I found. I'm just gonna copy it in since I found it, and I don't take any credit for it. So I don't need that. I don't need that, but I do need this code. And there it is. So this code, this code is somehow, I don't know fully what this is, but it's grabbing the API of the data table. It's grabbing the underlying functionality. Here's a little function that turns strings into numbers. And then what I want to do is take the total. So I'm creating a variable called total. And I'm applying this. So API is accessing the tables functionality. I'm accessing column 3 or the 4th column because that's the sales column. I'm accessing the data out of that. And then I'm doing a reduce of that column. So this is just going to take this reduce function takes 2 values, A and B. I believe A is the previous value, B is A is the total so far, B is the row that we're on. So this is just going to summarize. It's going to just, as we go through this, it'll start with 0 plus 72 is 72. And then the next round, it'll go 72, that's the total, plus 71 is 143. The next round is 143 is A, and then B is 85 over here. B is 85 over here. And then it'll do 143 plus 85 and keep on going. So that's what this total is. So that's nice. So I could actually then, and this is what's interesting, is I could come in here inside of this function here. I could say, I'm going to remove the strings. I'm going to go for like 15 minutes. If anybody needs to drop off, go ahead. But I'm excited about this. So I'm going to use template literals, and I'm going to use, I'm going to just say total. So let's see what that does. So there I go. I got the total. I'll get rid of these here. Get rid of those. So now let's see here. Okay, great. So I've got the total of that because it just calculated the total and pushed it in there. I'm not sure if it'll do this. So if I do forwards, so this is a problem. This is what I discovered right before I sent my original code to Antoine, is that it is creating it every single dang time. And that's not a good thing. So I need to fix that. And the way that I fixed that was I did a variable const is footer there. And I'll just say document.get element by ID, my foot. Or no, I don't want to do that. I want to do document query selector. T foot. So I'm checking to see in my document, is there an HTML element, the T foot HTML element? And then I said, so then I just did something like this. I said, well, I'm actually changing my code on the fly based on just me talking through it here. I'm going to say if footer is not there, then let's create it. get rid of this stuff. So if footer is not there, that's what this means. Not, this would be not true. This is either going to return true or false. No, it's not. It's going to return either the item itself or nothing. So this will check to see if there's nothing there. If it's not there, create it. Otherwise, let's see, what do I want to do here? Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, let the footer. And then I'm going to say, if it's not there, the footer equals document.getElement by ID, create tfoot, insert that. Okay. If it's not there, or if it's not there, create it. What am I trying to do? I'm going to say, let's see here. I'm going to do, I'll do this. I'll do else. This, again, this may not be the best kind of code. The footer equals so what I'm trying to do is just put the footer, whether I'm creating it brand new or whether it's already exists, I'm putting it in the same variable so that then I can just do the footer dot inner HTML equals, and then this, which it told me already. All right, so I don't need that row. So I'm either going to create it or I'm going to grab it into the variable of the footer. And then I'm going to update that footer's HTML. So it still works. And now every time I do a page, it's not going to add more because it's just updating it every draw. If I were to do road. So it's actually not updating that because that's the total of all of the data. Even if the data doesn't show up here, it's still the total of all the data that's in the data set. So that's where this next one came in. Page total, const page total equals, this is cool. I just learned this. I had no idea that this existed. I could say column 3 page current. That's amazing. Dot data dot reduce. And then I can put that in there. I could say, I'm just going to put it in this column. I'll do page total. Here we go. So now I've got the total of these values here. If I click to this one, I'm going to get that updated with those values there and so forth. And if I do, something that's cool, I'm going to get 0 because there's no records that show up. But the data set has 10,600 value in it. If I do road, that's interesting that it's not. I wonder if I I'm going to look at my, oh yeah, I turned off the searchable in my address, so I can't find roads. That's why. All right, so road, if I type in road, there we go. I got 3 values with road and the total is 80. Cool. All right.
Very cool.
So now I can format the, and then I spent a lot of time also formatting it. I think I gave it a class name of the footer dot class name equals table dot or dash warning. This is Bootstrap. So there we go. And just did other things to it to make sense. Obviously, I don't want that. I don't want this in a separate. So I'll go back to what it was. I'll go to that / that. There we go. Beautiful. All right. So if even if I sort it, this is craziness. Look at that. It's freaking. If I do that's interesting. Oh, the lowest performers had only $38 in sales or whatever the case may be. So anyway, that is the
It's really cool. I mean, it's really fantastic what you have provided me.
Yeah, well, we're all in this together, and I am on the mission to remove every list view from FileMaker and replace it with this kind of stuff. Even the new Claire Studio, they do have a list view replacement, but it can't do any of this stuff still. So, we still got the upper hand in terms of functionality and such. But yeah, so it's really just playing with it. I'm pretty impressed that this function can work here. And obviously there's probably a way to combine these. There certainly is a way to combine this down to one, but it's not a big deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is where I left it. And so now I have a great sub summary. And of course I think I could put this in the header too, although the header is the columns, so probably don't want to do that. But I could actually send this data to FileMaker via this, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason, obviously, I could put it anywhere on here if I wanted to. So anyway. All right.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that question to me, and I'm impressed with what you're doing as well with this.
So if you think about using a dynamic calculation based on the column, I mean, if I sort this column, then I will sort this column number. You will get which is the click. I mean, which is the sort column click, and then use a variable to pass this variable to the function which make the summary, right? That's how you would do that.
You're saying if I sort by address here?
I mean, address doesn't make a big deal because you will not make a summary, but imagine you have a sales in dollars and sales in number. If I want to have the summary in sales of dollars, then if I sort by dollars, by currency, then the summary apply to the currency. If I sort on numbers, then the summary applies to numbers. Because I was just thinking of doing it dynamic, I would use the which column is click to be sorted and pass this parameter to the function.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you could. I think there's what do they call it? No, I think you could do that. So you could, somewhere in here, there is the ability to get the column that is sorted.
Mm-hmm.
And then
pass the number of the index of the column, this parameter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you could tell what column is sorted and then do your work there from there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay. I will play with it. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Any other thoughts? Any other? This is exciting to put this together. And now I have to go play with that save state and see if I can get that working. Mm-hmm. Although, Orlando, I may just task you with that and have you report back next week.
So. Yeah, I need to just focus on it. I've had that question bubbling away for a while.
Yeah, good question.
So I need to, I will investigate before next week.
Derek, would this be useful in what you're trying to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't encountered a need for it, but I know it's coming. So, already having the information ahead of time is useful. Thank you.
And what's cool is you could turn this on or off too via FileMaker. You can't choose to pass the function back or not, but you could say, if a certain parameter from FileMaker says show summary, then you just do all this, you just let all of this work run down here. You keep it in this section, and then you just don't let it run if you don't need it. So yeah. All right, cool, everyone. Well, this has been fun. It's exciting to come with a real problem to office hours and work through it. So next week, Antoine, I expect you to come up with a new problem, and then we'll find the solution together. Okay.
I'll do my best, promise.
Or Derek or anybody else. come up with an interesting problem with data tables and we'll try to solve it. So, but do, you know, I have to end on a commercial. Do check out my courses if you're interested. I need to get that data tables one advertised more. It's supposed to be next Friday for like 6 hours. So,
yeah, I will definitely we will meet in some of your course. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Thank you all. Good to see you. Derek, thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming. Marty, always good. Sam, love having you here. I got people from all over the world here today.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. Have a good
Bye-bye.
day, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.